Hey! Hey! Oh! Oh! What's up? Oh, Jim, is that you? Yeah, it's me. It's me, Jimmy. It's great to see you. Oh, my bad, man. I hardly recognize you. Yep, you're definitely Jim, and you absolutely work here. Hey, my bad, man. Carry on with whatever you're doing, all right?
Okay, you take care now.
Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today. Merry Christmas to all of you out there, and I have a gift just for you, and that gift is the first review of 2021. If you are new here, you're looking for more reviews, be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button as well. It actually really helps out the channel, I've learned. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into Hitman 3. Reviews are all about value, and Hitman 3, guess what? It's also all about value. This is some of the best bang for my buck I have seen in the industry in a long while, with some real pro-consumer practices backing it. So if you care about that stuff, you might want to pay attention to this review here, because I want to start off not with the story, not with the gameplay, but the value. Hitman 3 is one of the most replayable games I have seen in a while. I've had a good hankering for a sandbox stealth game, and Hitman 3 absolutely delivers. But what's really neat about Hitman 3 is it presents an idea that IO Interactive, the developer of this game, has had for a while: the world of assassination. So let's say you owned Hitman 2. Back in the day, you could get Hitman 1's maps brought into Hitman 2. Now with Hitman 3, you can take Hitman 1 and 2's maps into 3, and it starts to retrospectively update everything from the AI to the new tools you have access to, and it changes how you can play these classic maps that have been established and tinkered on for years and years. This means that there are 21 maps within Hitman 3. You can import them if you already own the game at no extra cost. Now, let's say you're like me. I played a little bit of Hitman 1, a little bit of Hitman 2. I don't own the games though. Hitman 3 has a pretty cool offer right now where, at least on the Epic Games Store, when you buy this game within the first 10 days, and by the way, this is not like a sponsor or a promo, so relax, you get all of Hitman 1's maps for free. And Sapienza pays for itself, by the way. And then if you want more with that, Hitman 2's maps are added as DLC for 80% off for the next 2 weeks. But if you're like many people out there who already own both games, don't worry. No matter what platform you're on, it's carrying over. So do keep that in mind. There is some insane value here because originally this series was episodic. So a lot of these older maps just kept getting updates and getting reiterated upon. So you'd have like 65 different ways to assassinate someone in one of the Hitman 1 maps because they kept updating it and bringing back tools from the second one. Now on the third one. So it's crazy. It is absolutely awesome how much value is in this package here, and it's such a great way to start off the year, and especially with, I think, a lot of people feeling burned with Cyberpunk 2077. Yes, there is some recency bias here where I say that it feels really good to have something deliver, over-deliver even, on value. But with that, I wanted to put that up front because I think it's a good thing to catch your attention on. Let's talk a bit about the story, a bit about the gameplay, so let's get into it. Story first, because what's interesting about Hitman 3's story is they actually went for something a little bit more of a personal tale here. Normally with Hitman, they're like, Agent 47, this is your target, go out, kill him, he's this super important person, or she's this super important person, go on, take him out in whatever crazy way you see fit. Make it look like an accident, whatever. And then you go into the sandbox level, and it's insane. There's so many options, so many people, and it's like, oh, what do I do now? And that's the excitement of Hitman. Hitman 3, as it is the conclusion of the trilogy, does look to deliver on a little more of a personal tale. And you'll notice if you played the Hitman stories, from at least what I've read, I have not fully experienced them, it does subtly ramp up, and you feel like things are coming to a head with Hitman 3. Now, what happens is sometimes the narrative is tied very closely to what's happening in the mission, and that can sometimes inherently limit things. And that's most notable, sadly, in the final mission of this game. It's very linear and just kind of narrow, and I found that overall a little disappointing. But the other 5 maps that Hitman 3 brings into the mix, we'll talk about them in a little bit. Wow, some of the best stealth levels I have seen. But when it comes to the story, it's really about 47 being motivated to take control of his life. It's about the changing of the hands of power, and it tries to present some meaningful ideas, but overall, I didn't find myself getting super invested. With that said, there is a nice little twist about midway through the story that I really liked, and I thought, hey, I didn't see that coming. I really appreciated this. But I think for those of you who have been invested for a while, right, I think you will like what is here, because ultimately, I was satisfied with it. I enjoyed it. Like, it got me from point A to point B. That's kind of what these games are about. Get me to the next sandbox and have it make sense. It does that. And for those who are a little bit deeper in the cut, who want a little bit more, I think you'll like what you see here. But when it came to the story, it's about this organization called Providence, who is just controlling aspects of the world, and we're trying to dissolve them. And so there's a little bit more of a direction here with this story is what I've noticed. It's not about the senseless killing of targets. There's actually meaning behind all of them. Not that there wasn't in 1 or 2, but I felt like with this one in particular, it was a little more driven by that narrative, even more so. So some people may actually like that, but you're not going to be playing this game for the story. Let me just tell you that first and foremost. What you will be playing the game for is its gameplay. Oh my God. Wow. Okay, let's talk about Hitman 3's gameplay. Like I said, some of the most impressive stealth maps I have experienced. So if you've never played Hitman before, like I've said a couple of times in this video, there's sandboxes. There's so many tools at your disposal to take out enemies in whichever way you see fit. There are accidents that you can make happen. There are scenarios that you can lure characters into. Like, I made someone's brain explode when they were sitting in a chair trying to control me and my body with some type of crazy technology that they were using. I was like, this is awesome. And it was just one way to take them out of dozens of assassination opportunities that are presented to you. It's a game about mastery, about learning patterns, about memorizing where they go at certain times. How quickly do I have to act in a level to get to one type of assassination versus one that's available deeper in the level? How can I use the disguises to sneak around locations, hiding bodies, choking people out? It's so dynamic. There's so much happening, and it's an absolute ton of fun because when you finish one level, it takes on its own self-contained story. It's really not about the main narrative, but to me, the stories that we're all going to share when we talk about how we take out various targets and those little actions that happen in between point A and point B. Each level boasts a bunch of challenges such as assassinations, discovery, feats, and the use of classic weaponry and outfits. Now, these challenges really highlight how much is in each level, and that's without any updates coming to the game yet. Furthermore, there are 3 difficulties: casual, professional, and master. This will alter your save count, your surveillance cameras, the enforcer count, as well as combat challenges. For those who don't know what enforcers are in Hitman, pretty much they're the people who are going to recognize you even when you're wearing the right disguise. They know their workforce, so that increases your save count. It gets limited. Let me tell you what, save scummers, you're gonna love next gen. Save scummers, you're gonna love PC. You need the quick load times because this game brought out the worst in me. I wanted that perfect assassination all the time. I couldn't help myself and I kept reloading and reloading, but that was the beauty of the game, the mastery, because then I'd go back in again and I'd be like, I know where they're gonna be. I know what they're gonna do and I know how I'm gonna take them out this time. And there's that feeling of being better and seeing your score for each mission go up. And as your level goes up and your mastery rises per mission, you'll unlock new starting locations, new drop-off zones where you can smuggle in new gear that you previously didn't have access to, new disguises, new tools to bring into the specific levels. It's insane because it's like, wow, this was my first time going in and that was amazing. And you realize there's 80 different ways you could go. That's not an exaggeration. There's so many ways to play, and especially if you accompany Hitman 1, Hitman 2's maps, which have been tinkered on for so long, there is a lot there. And what's even more neat is those maps have been retrospectively updated. I need to emphasize that again. So the AI is a little bit better. You have tools from Hitman 3 that come into Hitman 1. That is awesome. Like the camera that unlocks in Hitman 3, you can actually use this to open specific windows in Hitman 3. You can use it to take pictures, see up close details that normally you'd miss. And now you can use that in Hitman 1. That is awesome, and that is a very pro-consumer move. IO Interactive absolutely could have charged us for this. I think Hitman 1 and Hitman 2 are well worth their price of admission, but to package it all together, Hitman 3 is the most accessible ending to a trilogy I have also seen, where I can buy that game and have access to all the content in one place. Phenomenal choice. Pro-consumer, absolutely appreciate it, but let's continue talking about that gameplay. The levels themselves are detailed and diverse, with lots of environmental storytelling to help direct you around, and this is further emphasized by the minimal HUD. So you're really just using all of the information around you, visual information at that, not what the game is directly telling you to locate your target, to figure out the level. There is a thing called instinct mode where you can hold, in my case, RB, and you can see your target and you can see items that you can interact with. But even that you can turn off if you don't want to rely on it too heavily. I can understand for some who want to have that true mastery, that true immersion of being that real Hitman, how that can disrupt things. That's been in the game for a while, but do know for those of you who are a little intimidated by all the options, there are a lot of natural systems that can guide you throughout this experience. Now, while a lot of the levels in Hitman 3 are fantastic, I need to specifically shout out the Dartmoor Mansion. Oh my goodness. So once again, what blows my mind about this is the one story I'm about to tell you can go a million other ways, right? There are a different number of ways I can take out my target. But in my case, Dartmoor Mansion, there was a murder here, right? And I'm here to assassinate someone else, but someone just died. So I dressed up as a private investigator, and I'm walking around this mansion, investigating the crime scene, trying to figure out who kills who to get close to the target who hired me. And it's like the murder mystery, like the story within the story here is good. It's interesting. There's so much detail and dialogue and information here, and it's just such an unexpected turn. And then I think to myself, wait, now I can return here because I got my mastery up, and instead of even being someone who's a private investigator, I can come in as a gardener, and that changes the whole approach to the mission. Maybe now I'll poison this person instead. Like, it's insane. It's like that's just one route. But the Dartmoor Mansion, like I said, one of my favorite stealth moments of all time. Seriously, I am a big fan of Dishonored. I love Splinter Cell, Blacklist. Those games have fantastic levels. I have wonderful memories with them. Hitman has officially made its way onto the list. I adored the Dartmoor Mansion level, and I think a lot of people really, really would. I highly suggest if you get this game, I know we all like our freedom of gameplay here, but I'm telling you, Dartmoor Mansion, legit. It is so good. But that's not it at all, right? You can go to Dubai and you're in this tower in the sky, and you can actually literally blow someone up with their own golf ball because they're just driving golf balls off the top of this tower into the city. I mean, I dropped like a chandelier on someone for an assassination, and I just think to myself, wow, like I lured him there in such a intricate yet sensible manner. Hitman 3 also introduces shortcuts. Now, this was a big hyped up mechanic by IO Interactive, and it's kind of just like the Dark Souls level of shortcut. You know, you go through the whole level, you unlock a ladder or a door, and now when you come back into this level, you'll actually be able to access this area a little bit quicker. But it's not some type of major game changer that's going to allow you open access to the entire area. Your disguises still matter. The things that you carry with you still matter. So don't worry, it doesn't break the balance of the game, but it's still something that I really appreciated because once again, it adds that replayability. Now I don't need to worry about this ladder here. It'll always be down when I am playing this specific map. So that's something that I really appreciated. One other problem that I noticed with Hitman 3 is actually servers. Now I have pretty good connection here at home. I play on a wired connection, and sometimes the game would just stop and make sure I was connected to the server. And if you do cancel this, which I did one time, sadly I wasn't recording, it booted me out of the game and sent me back to the main menu and I lost progress. So just keep that in mind for those of you who are very curious about the online nature of this game. It's something that I found a little awkward, especially because it happened at least once every mission. Hopefully this is just something that's during the review period, but I wanted to make sure all of you out there were aware that sometimes a Hitman game will indeed stop you to make sure you are connected to the server. Once it connects after like 2 seconds, boom, you're back into the game, but still it breaks you out of it when you're looking for that good assassination, and you can't do that because the game's trying to keep you connected. Yet what I really appreciated about Hitman 3 is there is none of that senseless tailing where the character happens to trail off into an isolated room and stare at a wall like, hey, are you gonna come choke me out yet? Like, none of that happens here. They're always walking a path, having a conversation. Now, one complaint that I do have, and I think it's because there's so many moving parts here, is that I did have one situation where I took out a target and then I found another mission story, which we'll talk about afterwards. And in that mission story, he was talking to someone who I just killed. And I was like, hold on, you can't do that because the person's actually dead right now. So that was one thing that actually snapped me out of things, but it only happened once. And I imagine with so many moving parts, it could happen more than that. I think it was still worth mentioning. But those mission stories, once again, for those of you who feel intimidated by all of the options here, this is another way to guide you, and it's in all of the previous Hitman games as well. So what happens is as you explore the levels, maybe you overhear a conversation as you're eavesdropping, and that'll activate a mission story that'll sort of tell you where to go and what to do. Like, get this disguise. Okay, now interact with this. And you have to figure out your way to get from point A to point B, but it's going to guide you a little bit more. And that'll eventually lure out a target. And then you have to, once again, figure out, okay, now how do I take them out here? So in one case, I did a mission story where I was going through this winery. And I went ahead and actually lured someone into the winery because I made the whole place blow up. So a lot of really cool options here. I know some folks may be like, you're spoiling things, Matty. No, there's so many options. So many. It's insane. It is insane. I really appreciate it. Now, you will notice if you play Hitman 1 and Hitman 2, there are a lot more options in those games in the terms of the assassination count. Like when I went back and looked at some of them, I saw the assassination number was at like 45 in the 60s for, I think, Sapienza. Like, there are a lot more assassination opportunities and ways to go about it in those maps, and I do think that's because of the episodic nature of the series. And of course with 2 they ditched that, and I think the way they just continue to update those games, I would expect that for 3. But do know if you're going in just for the raw base game of 3, it still is heavily replayable. But I am coming from the standpoint of someone who has been messing with 1 and 2's maps. Like going back to Miami, I'm thinking, wow, like this is in the same package as all of the wonderful Hitman 3 maps. Just another great Hitman 3 map is, I'll just say, a cat and mouse Hitman game where you're up against other Hitmen. It is awesome. It is so cool. And it's just, as you're trying to figure it out and you're feeling legitimately challenged, like you're going up against people of your kind. Wow. Just, I really appreciate what this game did. It is highly replayable. It's beyond fun. It was empowering to just figure things out, learning the levels, seeing how much content there is. Like every single level I played, 100% every single level I went through, I did not see everything. Not at all. Because they'll have a little counter, and like when you enter a new location, it'll tell you discovered that. For most of these places, I discovered 10 out of 40 locations, and I managed to get the mission done. And I'm thinking to myself, wait, are you kidding me? There's like 30 more places I didn't see where I could have encountered folks, where I could have set up assassinations. So there's a lot of room for this game to grow with future updates, to add more opportunities, to kill different targets. And that's not even including other game modes. So there's a game mode called Sniper Assassin. Agent 47, he's perched up, he's got a sniper rifle. It's not about moving around the level, but deciding when you take your shot. You have wall-piercing ammo, shockwave ammo, you have body-piercing ammo, so you can take out 2 people with 1 shot. And it's about timing things out, studying patterns, but you're on a much tighter time limit. So this is a little bit more of a quicker gameplay idea if you just want to hop in and out. The other mode they have is called Contracts. You can go in here, create your own contract, set up your own target, share it online. A lot of other people can do this, and of course, like all other player-created content, it'll get voted on, and it'll move its way up the ladder, and eventually you'll be playing those trending levels, so there's endless content even there. A really fantastic idea. So there's just so much here, ladies and gentlemen. Cannot emphasize that enough. Absolutely phenomenal value here. I really enjoyed this game. Admittedly, it will try your patience because you'll want that perfect assassination, but even if you're someone who's very busy, right? Each level took me about, an hour, it would say, on the clock, but with all of my save scumming and reloading, I had about 12 hours on this game once I finished all of the Hitman 3 maps. So it definitely took a little bit longer than that, but you can hop in here for quick sessions, right? You can hop in here for like an hour or 2 and get some stuff done. The game also, at least on some of the lower difficulties, like the professional difficulty, the casual difficulty, auto saves frequently. So it's really backing you up a lot. I mean, I got saved by this system a lot. Sometimes I get really into it. I forget to manually save. Let me just tell you what, auto save in this game is fantastic. And that's something that should be applauded because a lot of games like this don't do it well. So shout out to them for that. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's just say the James Bond games are in fantastic hands. Can't wait to see what IO Interactive does as an independent studio. I think they're doing a wonderful job with Hitman, and Hitman 3 is a fantastic conclusion to a really under-celebrated trilogy. I mean, just give this game a look. Fantastic value. If you really value your $60, I would say, especially on PC, look into the offering IO Interactive has, because at least if you don't want to spend an extra dollar, more than 60, you can get Hitman 3 and 1's maps. And 1's maps are very good. And if you want more than that, like I said, 80% off, you can buy Hitman 2's maps. I don't have some type of epic code or anything, so like I said, none of this is sponsored, none of this is promoted. It's just, I'm trying to think of value for all of you there. So keep all of this in mind when purchasing. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I look forward to reading your thoughts in the comments down below. Very excited to start off 2021 with a great game. Obviously, we have so much more to experience, and some folks may be like, well, Matty, how can you say this is the best bang for your buck in 2021? It's like the first major game. I'm talking about over time. We're absolutely going to look at Hitman 3. I'm going to bring this game up a disgusting amount in 2 areas: value and that Dartmoor Mansion mission. That was incredible. So apologies in advance to my podcast listeners. But with that, allow me to wrap this up. This game, I think, is a buy for sure. It was polished. It was fun. It has great value attached to it, and it's highly replayable. You'll definitely get your bang for your buck, whether you're hopping in, just doing all the missions once, or you're replaying them over and over and over. I didn't feel any repetition set in. Really enjoyed my time here. And so with that, I pass it off to you. Let me know what you think of Hitman 3 in the comments down below. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. Big thank you to all the patrons, all the members who continue to support the heck out of the content here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.